Have you ever wondered why it was so much easier to expect the worst than it was to believe that something good can actually happen in your life for you? Maybe it was even that people, called you negative. Maybe even you called yourself negative at times. But what if I told you that you're probably not negative at all? Yeah. And stay tuned because this is going to get interesting. Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to my channel. If you are new, welcome. If you are coming back, welcome back. I'm so glad to have you. My name is Cassie, and on this channel, we talk all things of healing, self-love, and self-care, and of course, becoming your dream woman. Think like you are just a negative Nelly? But what if I told you there's more to that story? What if it was that your brain is simply doing exactly what it was designed to do all along? And that is protect you. Today, I want to explain why trauma changes the way that we think and why you're always scanning for danger. And most importantly, how you can begin to rewire your brain to finally experience peace instead of constantly living in survival mode. If you've struggled with your self-worth, anxiety, depression, overthinking, toxic relationships, or just even feeling like your mind never shuts off, I truly believe that this video is for you and this can change your perspective forever. For years, I honestly believed that I was just a negative person. Every time I turned around, it was just a negative thought popping in, popping out. And, whenever something happened, my mind would immediately go to every possible scenario that could go wrong. If someone didn't text back, my brain assumed the worst. If something good happened, I was always waiting for something bad to happen as well to offset the goodness. I didn't realize that this really wasn't my personality. It was just my nervous system. And due to the lack of knowledge for all of these years about the nervous system and what it does and all of that, we tend to think that it is our personality that is truly the negative thing. But no, because once I started studying a bit of neuroscience here and figuring out how our brain actually works, I learned more about it and got more understanding, and it was just amazing. So something finally clicked. And it wasn't that our personality is negative. No, it's that our brains are literally designed to keep us alive, not to make us happy. And that realization has changed everything for me. And I hope that it gives you a perspective that can change your mind as well. Because think about this, right? If you've experienced betrayal, abandonment, divorce, emotional abuse, childhood trauma, financial hardship, loss, your brain remembers it all. And even if your conscious mind wants to move forward, because it often does, your nervous system remembers what actually happens. So instead of scanning for opportunities, our brains scan for danger. It starts asking, ooh, what could hurt me? What if I trust them and they end up leaving? What if I fail? What if I get disappointed again? What if, right? There's lots of what ifs. And then your brain, believes this way of thinking is actually protecting you, because it is trying to find the bears and the tigers. Oh my. But I also noticed something else in this process. You figure like not everybody has this mindset, right? Because of everybody's different experiences, our mindsets are obviously different. So for the people who generally grew up feeling safe, that they had people that they can trust, life usually worked out for them, love feels safe to them, home feels peaceful, of course, their minds are naturally thinking differently. Their brains have had different experiences. But for someone who has experienced years of hardship, their brain collected completely different evidence. This doesn't make you broken. This just means that your brain adapted to what it was supposed to do. One mistake that I made years ago was actually thinking that it meant everything was going to be wonderful, but it doesn't. Healing isn't toxic positivity. Healing is learning not to let fear control your life anymore. I still have negative thoughts, but the difference is they don't control me anymore. I notice them, I question them, then I choose a different response. And that alone is freedom. People think like once they heal their trauma, they're finished. Because I surely did. I didn't know. Healing's actually just the first step of this all. Because after healing, actually become someone new, you have to create a new identity. You have to teach your brain, I'm safe now. I am worthy. I deserve healthy love. I deserve success. I deserve peace. Because your identity determines your life. One of the biggest areas that I had to heal was my self-worth. Low self-worth doesn't just affect one area of your life. No, it actually affects everything. It affects the relationships that you choose, the jobs that you accept, the money that you earn, the boundaries that you set. And when you don't believe that you're worthy, you end up settling. You settle for relationships that don't fulfill you. You settle for careers that don't excite you. You settle for less because deep down, you don't believe that you are worthy for more. I know this because I lived that life for so many years. I thought I had to accept whatever came my way. I convinced myself this is probably the best I'll ever get. But that belief wasn't truth. It was wounded self-worth talking. Once I began the healing process, everything started changing. Not overnight, but consistently. I started making different decisions. Different choices ended up creating different results for me. And eventually, I became someone that I barely recognized, but in the best way possible. And one thing I want to be honest about here is that I couldn't have done this without God. Yes, I studied neuroscience. I learned that the nervous system regulation. I learned about rewiring your subconscious mind. But God actually led me to learn all of these things as well. But he also showed me the places that I couldn't see for myself anymore. Sometimes, he would just gently bring up memories again. Sometimes he would reveal wounds that I had buried. Not to shame me, but to help heal me. He wasn't trying to hurt me. He was helping me become free. Free of the chains, free of the thoughts, free of all of the things that has been holding me back all of these years. And every time that I surrendered another layer, I ended up experiencing more peace. And one of the most beautiful things healing has given me is purpose. You know, everything that I survived, everything that I cried over, everything that I thought ruined my life, at this point in time, God is now using all of these different things for me to help other women. And that's why I created my healing program, because I know exactly what it feels like to feel unworthy. And it's such an uncomfortable feeling. I know what it feels like to constantly question yourself. And I know what it feels like to abandon yourself just to make everyone else feel comfortable. But I also know freedom is possible. Maybe today you're feeling exhausted. Maybe you're tired of repeating the same cycles over and over. Maybe you're tired of attracting emotionally unavailable people into your life. Maybe you are tired of doubting yourself. Maybe you're just simply tired. And I want you to know, you don't need fixing. You just need some healing, babe. And healing is available for you today. Your brain isn't your enemy. Your nervous system isn't trying to ruin your life. It's just there trying to protect you. The beautiful part of this all is that your brain can actually learn something new. You can heal. You can create safety within yourself. And you can become someone who naturally experiences more peace, more confidence, more joy, and more love. Not because life suddenly becomes perfect, but because you've become whole. And now I'm not saying this process is going to be easy, because it isn't. You're going to need to be consistent with this process. You're going to need to show up every day for yourself, even on the days that you don't feel like it, for it to really, truly make a difference, okay? But if you do these things, it is all possible. And that is the most magical part of this, is the possibilities that are out there for us. Because sometimes the world tries to make us feel like you can't do better, you can't change. Everything is such black and white and straight lines and this and that. But it truly isn't. You just have to be really consistent. And I wouldn't suggest doing this without God. Okay, because God has definitely made this a lot easier for me than trying to do this on my own with, like, say, a therapist. Now, if you feel more comfortable with a therapist, I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with it, but I'm just saying the therapist can only go, like, as far as your mind is able to go. But God tends to nudge you and bring things up just a different way. So I would definitely, suggest to ask God for your guidance on this journey, because, like I said, He has definitely helped me change my life in so many ways that I would have never even thought was possible for me in the beginning of this process. So if this video encouraged you today, please let me know in the comments. What is one area that you're currently, asking God to help you heal? Or maybe you're not asking God yet, but maybe you're just wishing that you can heal this. What area would that be? And would you be open to asking God to help you today. I'd love to pray for you. And if you would like to go deeper, I have linked my website into the description. You can find my self-worth healing program that walks you through the exact process that I used to heal my self-worth and to help bring on my new identity and creating a life that I never even thought was possible for me 3 years ago, okay? And if you would like to support me in this ministry, so included a link where you can buy me a coffee. Every donation helps because that just gives me another opportunities to continue creating healing content for women around the world. So I thank you so much for being here today. And remember, you are worthy, you are loved, and your past doesn't get the final say. You do, as long as you are willing to do the work. I love you, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.